Hello friends and welcome to Automuv India, and hello to all the bulletiers out there. So this video, the topic is this, the Royal Enfield Bullet 350. So I put a video on changing the fork, changing the oil, etc. So this video is going to be about changing the chain sprocket along with the clutch of the vehicle. So many of them have put the video of changing the clutch and sprocket, but you might be thinking what's special here. So the thing is, first of all, it has done around 57,000 kilometers, which you can see here. And second thing is, many of them, like I've seen many of these videos, and they tell it's the right time to change the clutch or the chain sprocket is about 25 or 30,000 kilometers. So this has done 57,000 kilometers. If any experts out there, if you have any suggestions, please do let me know in the comment section below if this is the right time or we should have changed that 25 30,000 kilometers. So now let's move on. First let's drain the oil, then let's move on to the other parts. So before that, here let me show you the chain sprockets which have been broken, rather the teeth which have been broken. Around 4 to 5 have been broken over here. Over here you can see one is broken. So as we rotate, you can see like few have been broken over here and one over here. So that's about it. Another one there. So now let's move on with the oil draining part, and let's do everything one by one. So first we have to drain the oil. You can remove the nuts underneath the vehicle and the oil can be drained. Then we have to loosen the clutch cable. So that is loosened now. Then we have to remove this lever. So in order to remove it, there is a nut behind it. So this lever has come out now. Let's keep it aside. So once that is removed, now we have to remove the foot peg. So for that we are using this tool right here, number 14. That screw is out. There you go. Even the foot peg is out now. Now we have to remove this cable. Better to keep the nut there itself so that you don't end up losing it. Let's keep that aside for a moment. So after which we have to remove all these nuts, that is over here, all those. We are using a number 8. Now that all these nuts have been removed, keep it aside safely. So this right here is the clutch plate, and in order to loose the chain, there is a button over here, button or mechanism which needs to be pressed, after which the chain becomes loose. Cool. Now let's remove this. So all this needs to be handled very carefully. It's very fragile. Not fragile, but you need to keep it carefully. So in order to remove this, we need to have a thing called puller, but as we are doing it in home, we don't have that. So in order to remove that, we are using this 24. Number 24 size spanner, which we'll put inside and rotate with a machine. So that's about it. So once that is removed, as you can see, that is loose. With the number 10 spanner, we have to remove all these nuts. So there's a trick to lose this, that is, if you remove this you have to loosen that too, and like you have to do it in an opposite way, that is, if you remove this you have to remove this. Otherwise everything will come out or it will be hard. So the tool used is a number 10 spanner. Said you have to remove it in opposite direction is this, that is, a spring is inside. So if you remove it otherwise it will land right on your face, which you don't want. So this is it. Collect all the springs, keep it aside safely. Remove that nut too. So this is the easiest way to remove this. There is a washer along with a nut over there. Now let's remove this. Just pull it out. So that's about it. So once that is removed, we also have a washer here. Even that should be removed, kept carefully. So this here happens to be the main thing, that is the clutch. So that's it, 2 pieces. So this right here is my cousin who is here to change or rather help us. So this here are the parts. So this seems to have been gone because we have a small kind of dent over here. So this needs to be changed. Let's keep it aside. And this here is a clutch plate. So this has been like, it should be thick but now it's thin. So even this has to be changed. As you can see, it's burned out. Now, so this is the clutch plate. Meanwhile, this is the pressure plate. So even this has been gone. As you can see, it's completely smooth. So that's about it. So over here we have pairs of clutch plate and a pressure plate over here, as you can see. So make sure you check everything and separate it. So this clutch plate over here, for the standard 350cc we have 6, that is 6 clutch plates. So for the 500cc, the standard 500cc we have 7. So don't get confused while you go buy it. So according to the model, just buy it. That's about it. Now let's change it. So before removing the RH cover on the right side, we have to remove this socket over here. Otherwise the other thing won't come out over there. It is there. So that has been removed. Let's keep it aside. Once the socket is removed, we have to remove this feeder pipe over here, which is located on the right side. So that's kept aside. Once that is removed, now we have to remove the kicker, that is this one. In order to remove the kicker, we have to use 2 spanners, that is one number 12 and another number 13, that is 12 below and 13 above. So the nut is out, as you can see. So that's the kicker out. Kicker is kicked out. Once the foot peg is loose, you don't have to remove it, just loose it, and we have to remove all these nuts that is over here, this. So in order to remove those nuts, we are using a number 8 spanner. So now this has to be removed. Meanwhile, the oil is dripping down over there. So before removing, make sure you keep something like a container underneath so that the oil will drip down in that instead of ruining the place. So once that is removed, you have to be careful with these two bushes, that is one here and another one there. Be very careful. That's it. So this is the inner sprocket which is located over here. The outer one is located near the rear wheel. So this is it. So even check for the sprocket if this is broken. So this seems to be fine. So in order to remove that, the inner sprocket, we have to remove this lock over here, which is located over here. As you can see, this one, we have to open that. So there's a washer here. It's a kind of a lock. Then over here you can just pull it out gently. That is it. It is out. So this here is the small sprocket. So for the standard 350 we have 15 teeth over here in the small sprocket, whereas for the classic 350 we have 16 teeth. So there's a small difference in that too. So here I have a few spares with me, so let's check the cost. So this here is the pressure plate and the clutch plate. So this along with this costs around, if you buy it separately, it costs around 2110. So that is separately, but when you buy it separately you don't get all these springs, bearing and stuff. So what we have did is, here we have a box in which you get the complete kit, everything. That is, it includes all these screws, springs, all that, for just 2250. So it is better to buy the complete kit instead of buying it separately. So before buying it, do a little max, and which is better for you, you can buy that. Now let's unbox this. So inside this we have this over here, as you can see, it's brand new one. We have this as well, which is new. Along with this we have springs and the screws, and here is the clutch plate and the pressure plate. That is a brand new one, as you can see. So that were the parts. Now let's check how to assemble this. So as I said, we don't have many professional tools as like the ones that they use in service centers. So I'll be showing you how to assemble it at your home individually and easily. Now let's do it. So while purchasing it, in the box you get 6 pressure plates. So that is one extra that is kept by the manufacturer. So don't get fooled because only 5 are required, but the manufacturer gives an extra one. So yeah, check that before buying it. Now let's assemble this. So first a clutch plate should be kept, after which pressure plate, and make sure it fits properly in the grooves right here, as you can see. So it should be kept in this order, that is first a clutch plate, then a pressure plate. That is, it should be kept in pairs. So that is done, and make sure you check this. That is, first there is a clutch plate, and at the last two we have a clutch plate. And after assembling it, make sure there are only 5 pressure plates. Now let's put this. There you go, that's a fit. Now just count it so that the numbers are right. So all the 6 nuts are in place now. So use the number 10 spanner to tighten it. So there's a washer which needs to be put inside, don't forget that. Then we have to put this nut too inside. So all the nuts are tight. So after everything, make sure you check it again if everything is tight. Now let's remove the rear wheel just to change the rear sprocket. So in order to remove the wheel, we need a number 24 box spanner. So before removing it, we need to loosen the nut of the brakes. Nut is out. Now we have to push this. So this rod is out too. Once you remove the nut from the other side, push it there, and there you go, the nut comes out, rather the rod comes out. So loosen this nut over here, which is number 19. So we have to remove this in order to remove the sprocket or the wheel. There you go, the wheel is out now. Once the wheel is out, we should remove this nut with the number 30 box spanner. Also the number 19 nut. Just separate it from the chain, and here it is. Remove that and keep it aside. So this here is the new sprocket, and first of all, don't forget to put the O-ring inside, as you can see. So it should be taken from the old one and put in the new one. Then second, you have to use this bearing, which is also taken from the old one, as it is okay right now over here. So let's put that in. Once the bearing is inside, don't forget to put this rubber. So the left side cover, we don't use packing, instead we use this glue called Anna Bond. So now the cover is fit completely. So make sure this lever is out, and then put all the nuts in slowly, after which you can tighten it. So after putting the nuts in, use a number 8 spanner and tighten it. As the cover is fit completely, now it's time to put the clutch cable back into place. Insert this rubber. It's time to put this lever. So there's a nut which has to be put below or behind it. So use a number 8 spanner to tighten the nut. Now it's time to put back the foot peg on the left side. So first insert a washer, then put it. Then comes the nut. You should use a number 14 box spanner. The chain sprocket is back into place. We clean the brake pads, put all the washers in place, also the sprocket back into place. Now it's time to tighten it. There's a nut here too, and also a washer. Now let's insert the small chain sprocket, that is the smaller one in the front. So before inserting everything, if needed, you can clean everything. So then insert the lock, the chain lock. Now it's time to lock it. So this sprocket is locked and it's in place. You can clean the chain before installing it back. Just put it in the small sprocket, then you can just pull it. As the chain is in place, now it's time to put the chain link lock. It is over here, and make sure these washers, and that is important, these locks, so keep it safely. Next, this should be put into place. As the chain is locked, now it's time to put the wheel back in. So apply a little grease, and before applying the grease, make sure that you clean the wheel if it's dirty. So there are grooves in which the wheel should fit perfectly. Now it's time to put this washer in place. Now goes this. Apply a little grease on the axle rod over here, as you can see. Then insert it. As the chain is tight now, it's time to tighten the brakes or put the rear brakes back into place. So while tightening the chain, make sure the grooves on this side and the other side are same. Tighten this nut over here. After tightening it with the number 30 box spanner, put this nut. Then use a number 24 box spanner and tighten that nut. So those both nuts are tight now. Now tighten this nut over here with a number 19 spanner. Now it's time to put the oil caps back in. There's a filter too along with it, which should be cleaned and put back. This is the cover on the right hand side. So this is clean right now, and you can see some coils. So it is basically the dynamo. Next we have to apply the packing, and can be bought from outside or the store, that is, and it costs rupees 58. That's it. This over here is the packing. It is kind of a seal. So on the left side there is no packing as such. Instead we use a Anabond gum or glue. On the right side here we use the packing. So make sure you put the packing before putting the cover back in place. Now that the cover is in place, it's time to put the nuts. These are the nuts. You can see. So after the cover is put in, you can just check whether the packing is correct or not, because that is very important. So everything is in place, the nuts here are tightened. Now we have to put the footrest back into place, rather the foot peg. The nut is below, it's situated below, so even that is in place. And this here is the feeder pipe, even that should be tightened with a nose plier. So now it's time to place the kicker, and one thing to keep in mind while installing the kicker is that there's a point here, that and this gap should be equal, it should be parallel to each other, only then will it be in this position. So now goes the nut in. Now let's tighten it. We are using two spanners, number 13 on top and 12 below. So this is the easy way to dip the oil filter, that is, pour oil in the cover which it is available in, and that's it. Then you can put it directly inside. And before putting the oil filter, make sure that there is a washer put inside, only after which you have to put the oil filter inside. So there's a hole over there, as you can see, so that and there's a marking in the oil filter that is over here, so that should be on the opposite side, not on the side of the hole, like this. Next, let's put the cap on. Make sure there's a washer too in there, and these are the three nuts that go in. Now it's time to pour the engine oil back. So this time we are using a Motul 15W50 technosynthesis oil. Price happens to be 1170. As you can see, let's pour it. So the oil is poured completely, and now let's put the cap back into place. So the oil has been poured, the vehicle was started, we went for a small round, so everything seemed to be fine. So that was changing of the clutch plate and the rear sprocket. So If you liked it, make sure to click the like button, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my cousin too. So that's about it. If you like to see more tips like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you.